Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us here on 9 News Plus. I'm Chris Bianchi with 9 News Sports Director Rod Mackey for a bit more on the Broncos schedule release and a bit
17 and 0.
You think?
17 and 0. I thought that was my first question. 17 and 0. The
17.
Undefeated season.
First question was, what's your takeaway from the schedule overall? So I guess that could be.
All right, we'll move on then. All right, maybe not 17.
No.
We'll get to that at the end. We'll give you the realistic prediction at the end. We'll save it.
Okay.
It's a tease. It's a deep tease. TV talk.
17-0 could happen.
It's not going to happen.
It's not.
But I got a prediction for you.
Okay, so 16-1 it is. So we're going to go from that to the schedule overall. I guess overall, any big takeaways from what we saw come out on Thursday?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is, remember last year we didn't have a Monday night game. First time in forever.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody cared about the Broncos. They've been bad. They've been boring. They added some guy named Russell Wilson. All that has changed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 primetime games. In the Thursday night game, which is the only thing they had last year. The Russell Wilson factor is what you saw when the schedule came out. I mean, we already knew who, we already knew where. What we did not know is when. So that was the big draw to the schedule, is what days will they play, where will the bye week be, how will that flow, and how many primetime games. So to me, the fact that they got 5 primetime games, that was the thing that jumped out on me, is that Russell Wilson makes the Broncos a big deal again.
We need the Broncos are going to be a big deal again because of Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Was 5 primetime games more than you expected?
A little bit. Yeah,
Okay.
I thought they'd get a couple. We were hoping to get the Sunday night at Seattle game here on 9 News. That would have been great. They pushed it back to the first Monday night game. So, again, Russell going back to where he played all his professional football before in Seattle. It's going to be great. I mean, it's just, you start with the bang. The Texans game at home, that's a little bit of a, the home opener's great, so you might as well have a game that's not quite as exciting there. But you look at this, I think they get off to a great start. That's the other thing I see, is that this thing sets up well for them with the so-called easier games to kind of get used to Coach Hackett, to the new quarterback, to so much new on this team. I really think this schedule is great for the Broncos.
All right, so easiest stretches of the season and perhaps toughest stretches.
The beginning's easiest. I mean, at Seattle, you should win that. I mean, it's going to be a very emotional game for Russell, but I think you win that. Houston here at home, you got to win that. San Francisco, good team, but it's home. At Las Vegas, with the Raiders, they seem to split a lot. Same thing with the Chargers. So and then Indianapolis on a Thursday night game here at home. I think that's a pretty easy stretch. The toughest stretch, no doubt. Look at the end. I think they're going to go into this really in great position. But if you look starting in December, at Baltimore, obviously very tough game. Kansas City, they've lost 13 in a row. Hate to bring that up again to the Chiefs. Arizona, good team. At LA, all the Rams did last year was win the Super Bowl. And then after that, at Kansas City. Again, hopefully it's not 14 in a row by then. So that's the tough stretch here, is at the very, very end. You finish with the Chargers at home. You hope this year, unlike years past, that game means something at the end. But the beginning, the easiest. At the end, the toughest. Which, again, that's why I think it flows so well, Chris, because there's all that getting to know everyone at the end. Peyton talked about it all the time when he first came here. It takes time for that quarterback to get the chemistry with the wide receivers. You've also got the new coach you've got to get used to. Bringing in new systems. You're trying to mix like John Fox did with Peyton. You're trying to mix that Russell Wilson system with the Broncos system. You're trying to adjust. So the fact that these games at the beginning are not the hardest games, I think it flows real well for them.
Give me within there 3 must-win games. Tough one. I know that's a tough question, but
I'm going to give you one that's kind of weird. You got to beat the Chiefs. You've got split with them, that's fine, but you can't keep losing to Kansas City. You just can't. I think that's the most important thing on the schedule, is to beat the Chiefs. You have to beat the Chiefs, one of the 2 games, you got to get the monkey off your back. If you really have hopes to win this division, you've got to beat Patrick Mahomes for once. I also think I'm going to give you, even though I'm giving you number 1, I'm giving you the first game of the season is another big one. You got to start with the momentum. If you lose that first game, confidence takes a hit, momentum takes a hit, excitement takes a hit. Road games in the NFL are tough no matter where you go, and it's going to be emotional for Wilson to go back to Seattle. But I would put that as the number 2 most important game. Number 3, let's see, where would I put number 3 looking at the schedule here?
one of those Vegas games?
You know what? I'm going to say number 3 is the third game against San Francisco. And the reason I say that is because road games in the NFL are tough. You got to take care of the home field. The Broncos have lost that. Mile High was the greatest advantage ever. They've lost that. They're going to beat the Texans at home, you figure. That I'm not going to put a must-win because that's a should-win. San Francisco's a good team. San Francisco's a very good team. Kyle Shanahan coming back. That's my third most important game of San Francisco. That's good. This is good stuff. I should write this down.
Well, I hope lots of you are writing this down as well. So again, there's 3 must-win games.
Okay.
One of the Chiefs games at Seattle to start the season, and then
San Francisco at home for the third game, just because of the pure home field thing. That's one of those. Probably it's going to be close to a pick'em game. Win that one.
So should we stop teasing the folks, and you want to give your prediction?
I'm going to go, which you're going to probably think is a little bit low. I'm going 10-7.
Okay.
Higher than it's been,
right.
obviously. It's obviously high it's been, but I've gone through a couple times trying to figure it out and balancing, okay, they'll lose this, win this. 10-7, I think it gets them into the playoffs. I still don't think they win the division. I would love to be wrong. I would love for them to do that, but until they beat the Chiefs and do that, I'm still going Kansas City. But I'm going wild card, and then I'm also going to say that they win at least one playoff game as a wild card.
Ooh.
So again, baby steps. You know, I'd love to think they're going to win the Super Bowl. Odds are great on them winning the Super Bowl. I could bet a paycheck and then retire forever on that. I'm not going to do that. Electric bill wouldn't get paid. But I'm going to go 10-7, get in as a wild card, win one game, and then we'll see what happens. But progress, but not where you want to be, not yet. Next year, that's where you're thinking it.
Well, I don't want to kind of lump you in with a lot.
Please
My
don't.
perception is general convention is general wisdom, I should say, is that the Broncos are somewhere in that 10-11
Okay.
win range, I believe. Right? I think most people have them.
See,
in
I
about
haven't
10,
looked at
11.
what their over/under is, but I mean, it just makes sense. It's the good thing about being bad is you get a last place schedule. You get an easier schedule. There's a lot of hard games on here still. And again, just because you look at a team now and you say, okay, the Rams are the best team, they win the Super Bowl. But you don't know what they're going to be like. Vaughn's not there anymore. You have the Super Bowl hangover. You don't know. So on paper, 10 wins seems to be right on. We don't know what the Broncos are going to be. I mean, there's so much excitement right now, but you got to prove it.
Yeah, got to prove it. All right, Rod Mackey, 9 News Sports Director. Thanks so much for your
You
time.
bet.
Rod joining us here on 9 News Plus. Thanks again for joining us, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.